Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us. Dave Scott, Tyler Keith, live on Civic Center TV and also on 89.3 Lakes FM. And this huge day for us here in the greater West Bloomfield area. We are live this morning from the West Bloomfield Middle School, the Auditoria, which if you're watching on television right now, you can see a beautiful shot of. And why are we here? It's not because of Election Day, but it's kind of because of Election Day. But we are here because we have the Heroes Breakfast. And Tyler, this has been a great tradition each and every year here in West Bloomfield. We've done this at the Orchard Mall in the past, but as you can see from this beautiful picture here, we are in the new, it's hard not to call it the Orchard Lake Middle School. We're here in the beautiful West Bloomfield Middle School. Why don't you just take our shot real quick and we'll wave and say hello. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. The event starts at about 9 o'clock. If you're on your way, thank you for coming. It's going to be great. Beautiful stage here that we have at the West Bloomfield Middle School, all set up and decorated. As you can see, final preparations. Kelly Hires out there working, getting everything done together. Final preparations for our broadcast today. And then on top of it, Tyler, it is also Election Day today.
Yes.
So as I was driving here, I couldn't believe all the people that were at Shepherd King, at Middle Belt and Maple, and a huge semblance of cars. The parking lot was jammed, but the cars were moving through pretty quick. What a great patriotic day we have today. We have Election Day with people exercising their right to vote here. And then on top of that, we got the Heroes Breakfast. It couldn't be more beautiful.
Yeah, it's a really great day, and I noticed a little bit of extra Election Day information, too, as I pulled in this morning here at the new West Bloomfield Middle School. They have a sign out for, because this used to be, when it was Orchard Lake Middle School, a precinct. It's no longer that at this point in time, certainly not today. It's the clerk's office, put a sign out front, said, hey, this is no longer your precinct. Contact the clerk's office or go to this location. That's where you're at.
Well, we're going to talk to Robert Brooks here in a minute from West Bloomfield Parks Commission. But Tyler, you talk a little bit about Election Day today, and we're going to be talking about the Election Day and this event here. But you're talking about Election Day. It is an Election Day where we are going to see the biggest turnout ever, and I mean ever, nationally for a midterm election. And that is a beautiful thing. Regardless of how you feel about all the politics, today is a day we can almost set all that aside. And the pundits don't matter today. Even the candidates really don't matter today. This is our day today. Finally, it's our day, and nothing else matters. And what's been remarkable is how many people have already voted, Tyler.
Yeah, it is. In 2018, the people of the state of Michigan voted for no reason absentee voting and same-day registration among the reasons why we're seeing greater turnout, greater voting before Election Day, and even some provisions going through the works over the last several months to allow clerk's offices and larger communities to begin processing, not counting, but processing those absentee ballots in advance so that our election results, given these new paradigms, are still as expedient as possible while also ensuring accuracy and security.
All right, well, we are delighted now to be joined by Robert Brooks. Come on up here, Robert. This is the weirdest broadcast. You can stand right here, right between Tyler and I, that we can see on TV. This is the weirdest broadcast setup anywhere, because, see, Tyler and I like pressing all the buttons, and, it's community television and radio. We can't have 20 guys in a truck, so we get to press all the buttons and be on TV. You can wave on that camera over there and say good morning to everybody. Robert Brooks, West Bloomfield Parks Commission Chair, thank you for joining us on this huge morning.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you to Civic Center TV for being here with us. This event is spectacular. Quite honestly, I am so pleased to be here today. And today, representing the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreations Commission as their chair, which I've been part of for the last 9 years here in the community, has just been an awesome thing for me in my personal life, but most importantly in serving this wonderful community. And today, as we recognize, honor, and give thanks to our heroes today, those who have served in our military, it is a special day for us. Of course, this wouldn't be possible, as you know, Dave, without all the many sponsors that we have in doing this event. they'll be named later. However, they're just so important to this event, as well as the heroes themselves, because we, as West Bloomfield, love to celebrate our community, as you well know.
Well, and nothing happens really without the sponsors. And to me, it's not just the money, it's the representation of their participation in something that is so beautiful in the community. And this is a bedroom community, let's be honest. We don't have a lot of business sponsor money here. So the people that help, they're wonderful. We'll try to get them on the air. I see Henry Ford Health out there. I see HAP. I see CNS Healthcare and a number of other banners I can't quite get to. But these guys all stepped up. And you know why? Because I think they really appreciate those that have served us, the veterans that we're going to honor today here as we have Veterans Day approaching and for this Heroes Breakfast.
You are so absolutely correct. And as we celebrate here in West Bloomfield, we celebrate also the diversity of our community. Our community, although you called it a
bedroom community. I hope that's an appropriate
quite honestly,
reference. Yeah.
We are, in a sense, that because of the fact that we know one another. We are not afraid to reach out to one another. And on this election day, it's just so special to be together because we are together in step in this community.
Mr. Brooks, I like what you just said because we're a community where people live. Maybe that's a nicer way to put it. I don't know. But we are a community where people live, and where people live, they get together, they gather. They go to the parks, they enjoy the trails, they get out at all of the different things that you do at Parks and Recreation, the different learning opportunities, and then an event like this. And I have the luxury of being able to see the statewide parks community through some of the other work that I do. And it's always really fun to go to the M Parks Conference. And M Parks is a statewide parks organization. Their conference coming up pretty soon. It's always fun to go there because West Bloomfield's always winning all kinds of awards. I'm like sitting back there doing all this at the M Parks Conference, and yay, West Bloomfield's winning another award. You guys are always. So we have one of the best parks and rec organizations in the state of Michigan.
Our staff is absolutely second to none, and our leader, Joe Ketchum, as our executive director, is just an awesome leader here in our community. He came back to us recently, and quite frankly, he served us for more than 30 years here in West Bloomfield. That says something special just about the staff that he works with, as well as the excitement in the people. Last evening, as we were setting this up, and I was here with some of our staff, there was such joy, and they are so this morning, as I've passed by different staff members, so humble to our veterans and so loving. So, you can't breed that in people. That comes with good leadership, as well as that comes with people being excited about what they want to do here in this wonderful community.
Yeah, and this event here is a really exciting event because you see, like I see Pam Zajac sitting down right in front of me here, former public relations director for the public schools, and she's involved in Michigan Week with us. I was trying to get her attention. I thought maybe if I said her name. Good morning, Pam. How are you? There she is. Hi. But she's involved in so many different things here in our community. So we got a lot of people, and your staff, and a lot of the library and the other organizations here. But there are a lot of people here. I see some new faces here too. It's a good opportunity for people to get together and work on this event. And today, we'll get out of the way in a couple of minutes and just talk about the veterans that are here today. This is really special for them, I know, and I enjoy seeing them get together. Really one of my favorite parts of this event, and maybe we can recreate it again today, in the past, is when we've had the different themes, the different hymns. You get the Army hymn going, and we get the Marine Corps hymn going, and we get the Air Force and the Navy, and then each of the guys in the tables are all kind of like all the Army guys are at one table, and we got the Navy guys at the other table and gals, and they're all so proud of the service that they've given and their they're part of the military. So it's always a fun part.
We've got some special things coming up, so stay tuned.
All right, so we've got musical entertainment, a lot of great presentations. Color Guard will kick it off. Robert Brooks, West Bloomfield Commission Chair, thank you for joining us here this morning.
Thank you, David.
Good to be with you, and it's going to be a great day, and a good job by all the folks at Parks and Recreation. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Tyler, off to a good start. I guess we should mention just the business of the day here, too. It's a great day for Election Day. Weather is
Yes.
great in West Bloomfield. There's no, I mean, we could have snow, right? It's November 8th, but it's a great day here in West Bloomfield. Easy day to get to the polls. The national numbers indicate that a lot of people already voted, but we are expecting maybe the biggest midterm election turnout that we ever have. And maybe Steve Kaplan will come up and say hello, our township supervisor at some point. But we've had, we're going to have a big turnout today, and everyone's going to get a chance to vote. And we urge people, if you have not voted, to get out and vote today, whatever your politics are, right?
Yeah, and there's same-day registration that is available. You'll have to vote, of course, in that scenario at your clerk's office. Of course, if you have any questions, it's best to contact your local clerk's office to get those questions answered. Certainly the West Bloomfield clerk's office hard at work. I've already been in contact this morning with West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder about their operations, checking in, seeing how things are going. So far, smooth sailing at the clerk's office, and they're always willing and able to answer your questions, especially about elections. And, of course, polls are open until 8 o'clock. That is when the polls close in Michigan. The rule is you don't have to have voted by 8 o'clock. You need to be in line by 8 o'clock, and you will be able to have your ballot cast and your vote heard.
Yeah, and a lot of people like to get going early. That's why I saw so many people on the way in already, voting. And a lot of people end up having to work all day, so they'll vote at the end of the day.
Of course.
Really, maybe the easiest way to vote, especially with so many people voting before the election, is during the maybe 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock hours. Sometimes you can sneak to the polls and get a really good opportunity to get in there and vote and not have a ton of people in line. So that is awesome. We urge you to get out and be a part of this day. And you know what? If I don't go vote, which never happens, by the way, I get home and I'm watching all the results, and Tyler, it just isn't really the same. I mean, participate, be a part of it. Everyone counts today. And, especially as we take a look at the people that are coming in here to the West Bloomfield Middle School, we think about the sacrifices that our veterans made for us to have the opportunity to vote. You can come to the Heroes Breakfast, good way to support that, but the other way to support that is to get on and vote, and we hope you do that. None of this happens today, my friends, without the help of sponsors. Joining us right now is Adam Simon from HAP, Health Alliance Plan, right, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Come on in. Let me get your microphone on and come on up here so we can wave and say hello to you this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having us.
It's good to have you here. As we were talking about a couple of minutes ago, this doesn't happen without people like you.
Sure.
And we're so glad you're here. Tell us your thoughts as we get ready to kick off a big day.
Initially, this is quite an honor. All of us have military families. All of us have people who have served, and to be here, to be able to sponsor an event like this on a day like today is an honor that is something that we're happy and proud to be with. We're happy and proud to be with you here today. So
well, and have you been at this event before?
I have not. This is my first time.
You're going to enjoy it, and a lot of people that are watching on TV, if you've not seen it before, it's an emotional hour or two that we have coming up. I think you're really going to enjoy it, and we couldn't be happier that you're here. Adam, what's going on in your industry right now? We have, I know everyone. It's a big sigh.
That's a big question.
It is. It's a big sigh for everybody.
Yeah.
But for folks that aren't in your game,
Sure.
What should they know?
I think one of the main things that we love doing, especially with events like these, there's so much confusion out there when it surrounds Medicare, when it surrounds healthcare, costs are going up, things like that. But it seems every time that we're out at one of these events or meeting with clients individually, having people just come and help take the pressure off their shoulders. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of commercials. Everybody's getting bombarded with this Medicare plan, and what do I pick? What's right for me? So really getting out there and meeting individually, answering questions. And I think one of my favorite days, I tell this story a lot, is one of my favorite moments is when you see somebody's shoulders relax and say, this was so confusing. I'm so glad that you unwound it for me. So that's really what we're out there doing, educating, helping people understand that there are options and there are phenomenal options. You just got to make sure that you have somebody
Adam Simon from HAP. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No problem.
But I do have one more quick question
Sure.
for you. Is there a renewal period? Because it feels like watching the commercials. There is.
There really is,
Yeah,
and we're in it right now. So
Right.
that's a great question. October 15th to December 7th every year is the annual enrollment period where anybody on Medicare can switch their plan, go back to original Medicare, sign up for a new plan, and that's really what we're all about doing, is educating and making sure that they are in the right plan for them.
How do you guys get your commercials on TV and between all the political ads?
Creativity, a lot of creativity, yeah.
Adam, thank you for coming
Thanks so
by. I
much.
appreciate it.
It's-
Thank you
it's
so
great.
much for your support
great
of the
being here.
event. And you guys are always a good neighbor and good members of our community. Good to
Thank
have you
you.
here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, very good. Tyler, I will let you get a comment in or
Of
two
course.
at some point this morning. I see those commercials. I go, oh, we got to take action now for people that are
course.
certainly beneficiaries of those programs. So thank you for joining us, Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe. We are here at the spectacular and brand new, show them a picture, the brand new West Bloomfield Middle School. And this is, I kind of remember because I went to school in the old Orchard Lake Middle School. And right in the middle of the building, there's this big cafeteria that had a stage on it, all right? And so when they built the new one, they kind of did the same thing, but this, I look at this room, and you look at it here, you can see the room, and we can show you a picture of the stage as well. You take a look at this. This is like a real theater with all the real stuff, as you're going to see today. Great lighting, great equipment, modern technology. We've been able to plug into it for our broadcast today. You know, internet that's like blazing faster than you're allowed to drive an I-75. And then all the really cool stuff. And then they got it laid out so beautifully, Tyler, in that and they've got these different tiers and levels.
Yeah.
And so it's set. It couldn't be set up better. It's gonna be a great facility, and our first time to broadcast live here, so I couldn't be more thrilled.
Yeah, it's a great facility. It's great for many different purposes, which we'll certainly use it for, obviously, daily to use as their lunchroom, but also a great place for entertainment, for community gathering also, which is why we've had a couple of great events already here, including the festivities coming up this morning that we'll have broadcast live.
You know, and then they set it up really nice, too, because they've worked the entrances here. So there is a specific entrance as you're pulling into the middle school. On the right-hand side, there is the auditoria entrance. It took me a couple of times, by the way. I kept wanting to say cafetorium. That's probably what I would have called it, but that would have been farther down in the alphabet. It wouldn't have been as cool. So auditoria. And that is exactly where we are. We're going to go to the stage here at about 9 o'clock and bring you the whole live broadcast. Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe, thank you for tuning in on Civic Center TV, on 89.3 Lakes FM, on our streaming outlets. I assume we're on all of our streaming outlets this morning. Facebook Live, and I assume we're also on YouTube. So if you got a friend that is here and you want to let someone know how to watch, you can go to any of those outlets, and of course watch on our standard television outlets, just like you do for so many other events. Heroes Appreciation Breakfast this morning, Tyler. This is going to be great. We've done this several years at Orchard Mall, and we've had an opportunity to hear some performers, hear some inspirational chat, and not inspirational chat, but inspirational presentations. But even moreover, we really had a great opportunity to do the number one thing, and that's get the veterans from our community together, give them a free breakfast, tell them thank you very much. And one of the things I like the best is give them an opportunity to interact with those of us that might not be as familiar with their military service and learn a little bit more about it and share some stories.
Yeah, it's a great day to learn from our veterans, to get their stories, of course, and to celebrate their valor and, of course, what they've given to our country to allow us to be able to, do things like this today and gather safely as a community, but also, we talk about this being Election Day, to have the ability to choose our leadership and to choose the direction of our freedoms in this country.
So, Tyler and I need about 30 seconds to a minute or so to get prepared for the next couple of things coming up. Tyler, why don't we roll? Can we roll the Marine Corps him, and we'll roll that, and maybe the Army and the Air Force and the Navy here. We're going to roll those for a minute. We'll let you see this beautiful facility while we do that. So let him see some pictures, and we will be back in a moment. We're live here on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I love these. You know, the Sousa marches. I don't know if Sousa wrote any of these, but it sounds like he did. And, and these are great. Kind of like the fight songs and these great military themes. They always inspire us so much. Thank you very much. I got it. Okay. Gina Gregory is here from the Historical Society in West Bloomfield, and she's seeing our titles, and they're wrong. But no one sees that on TV. So it's okay. We know what's going on. Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe, we are here at the West Bloomfield Middle School. All brand new, spectacular. We're going to have a couple of hundred people here for the Heroes Breakfast, and we couldn't be more thrilled. It's going to get kicked off in just a couple of minutes. Right now we got a chance to say hello to some of our good friends in the community, and joining us right now, you can grab that, Gina, is Gina Gregory from the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. How are you?
I'm pretty good, Dave. How are you?
Good. You're look at you. They can see you on TV. Just
I
look
am
over at
ready.
that camera right over there.
Okay.
Look at that.
Hello.
Look, you got your flags on. You're dressed out in a very patriotic. Look at
Sure.
Tyler. Tyler
Yes.
looks like he's running for office today, doesn't he?
Maybe I should.
Me, Harry, Dave. I need a haircut.
You're
Oh,
on blue.
I do have
you're
have
good.
my blue on. Gina, we only have a couple of minutes. What's the big news at the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society?
That our mission is to preserve and share our history.
Excellent.
So if you have military memorabilia, bring it over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we would like to collect more.
And, of course, for people that don't know where you are, shame on you. You got to get by. But they're right by the Orchard Lake Town Hall. And that you can just come by any time, or do you want an appointment?
Well,
or?
we're going to be open Sunday,
Okay, good.
1 to 4, with the military open house. We're at the
Okay.
corner of Long Lake and Orchard Lake Road.
Right.
So come on with your items to donate.
All right, that's great. So, I mean, you may have an old uniform, or maybe
Yes.
a hat, or maybe some photographs, or
Or
maybe
letters.
letters. Yeah, that's good. What else?
We have World War II coupon books.
Okay.
All of those things. We have a pair of boots, just whatever you have that you'd like to donate after your family's decided that you'd like to share it. Ours is a place that you can share it.
Well, what a great thing to do, because it might be, important to your family, but and in your home, but that way a lot more people get to see it, enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I imagine if somebody donates something, they'll be recognized as the donor of that item as well.
Sure. And we record that information always, so it's part of the archive record of who donated it.
Do you have a lot of military-related historical artifacts?
We keep getting more and more.
Okay.
Last year we got some Korean items. This year we have a more modern uniform exhibited. Last year we had a World War I uniform exhibited that was donated. We have some Korean War, Spanish-American War. We don't have anything for more recent.
All right, well, that's a good
And we
opportunity.
would like that.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's a great
so,
opportunity.
People come by on Sunday. You'd like to see them anyway, whether they
Yep.
have something or not. What are the hours on Sunday?
1 to 4, and we're
Okay.
going to be resharing what we have exhibited over there of our military items.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we look forward to that, Gina. Thank you very much for stopping by.
You're welcome.
Website, phone number, anything else you want to share with people?
GWBHS.org. is our
GWBHS.
Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society.
Tyler, even I can get that one. Okay, good. Okay, I got it.
All right.
Okay, very good. Gina, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming by.
You're
We're going to
welcome.
take another 30 seconds and just make some final preparations. We thank you for joining us. It's Election Day. It is Heroes Breakfast Day here at West Bloomfield Middle School. Stage, you can see, is all decorated. We got a lot of people here already making their way. It's going to be a fantastic event. We're going to have all of it for you live. Don't go away. It's coming up in just a couple of minutes, just after 9 o'clock. We'll be back in a moment. Thank you very much for watching and listening this morning on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Boom, boom, boom. All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for being with us. Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe. We are going to get over to the stage here in just a couple of minutes. Civic Center TV is here along with our local radio station, 89.3 Lakes FM. We've got musicians on stage. They're going to start performing in a couple of minutes. Our festivities will get underway. Tyler, 30 seconds. What is Heroes Breakfast? Go ahead. I'm not hearing you. There you go.
I'm hearing myself.
Okay, there you
fine.
go.
There
Sorry
we go.
about that. All
now
right.
I'll explain it. It is all about celebrating our veterans, active and retired, those that have certainly also given their lives in the line of duty for our freedoms, and to, of course, be able to have community gatherings like we do today and so often throughout the year.
All right, one of our favorite buddies here in West Bloomfield showing up. Kurt Lawson, come on over and say hello from the West Bloomfield Police Department. Hi, Kurt. Come on, step right up here.
Always
so
a pleasure to be here.
Everybody can see you.
Always a pleasure.
You've been at the Heroes Breakfast in the past. Just 30-second thoughts here before we get going about this event.
Well, I've been fortunate enough to be here every year that they've held it. Hats off to the West Bloomfield Parks for doing an outstanding job each and every time. I've partnered with them on multiple occasions. They just hit the ball out of the park every single time, and once again, they've done it today. So it's going to be a great event, and just a shout out to all those veterans that sacrificed so much for all of us.
Well, and I think other first responders certainly have a lot of respect for those that have served in the military.
100%. They know all about sacrifice, and again, just thank you for being here, and it's going to be a great event.
Very good. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Thanks for saying hi. He, like so many other people in our community, pitch in on just so many different events. That's the only way these things happen, by parks, the library, the township. We little broadcasters, we all kind of get together here to try to make these things happen. And taking a look out at the audience right now, Tyler, maybe pop up camera 3. There you go. You can see most of these tables are already filled. And if you look close, you can see these are the veterans that are here today that we are honoring. And you know, when I first saw that this was going to happen on Election Day, I was kind of, well, Election Day, we're kind of busy. But then I started thinking about it more. And I can't think of a better day other than Veterans Day, which doesn't, you know, people have other things to do. If we're going to have a Veterans event, why not have it on Election Day? Because, you know, this Election Day wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for all of these great people out here.
Yeah, arguably the greatest example of our democracy, of our republic, is our elections. And to be able to celebrate these veterans on a day like this, on Election Day, and thank them for giving us the opportunity, for protecting us in a way that allows us to have this opportunity every 4 years, every 2 years, special elections in between as well. It is really a great way and a great opportunity to say that thank you and then show what that thank you really means outside these walls.
And then have a meal. I mean, and I always like all the really good things. Think about it. All the really good celebrations, they always have a meal too, right? That's kind of part of our tradition.
It is.
It is. We should. How come we didn't have a meal before that playoff football game? Maybe things would have gone a little.
I don't know about that. Not much we could have helped with.
Maybe
that.
they would have gone a little better. So, if you are running around our community today voting, and that's a great thing to do, the weather's going to be great. There's no rain or, God forbid, snow predicted. I was out at many of the polling places early this morning, and traffic was pretty significant. A lot of people voting. But as we find, maybe the best time of the day to get out and vote is right around the midday hour. So after you watch the Heroes Breakfast, Tyler, maybe a great time to get out and vote, right? Why not? Because the crowds won't be too big. And polls close, I think, at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock tonight.
8 o'clock.
Okay.
As long as you're in line by 8 o'clock, you will be able to cast your vote and have it count.
And that's kind of always a bummer, because don't you want to get home and watch Wolf Blitzer and see how everybody voted?
Well, I mean, the polls close east to west, so you got that opportunity right after that.
Yeah,
you know?
and I kind of feel it's going to be, and it's going to be did this today, because we're going to be tired. It's going to be a late night.
It is. It's going to be a late night for these results. Even the Secretary of State's office here in Michigan said in certain areas that are more populated or don't have quite the resources that they'll need in order to put forth the effort they'll need in this particular election, that we could see upwards of 24 hours before we see the full extent of those unofficial results that have not been certified yet, but certainly tell us usually about 100% accuracy where our elections have gone.
All right, I'm going to go do something. Why don't you talk to our wonderful audience here for a minute?
I will.
And I'll be right back.
All right, we will reset the scene here. We are at West Bloomfield Middle School, the new middle school here in West Bloomfield on Orchard Lake Road, just a little bit north of Maple Road and a little bit south of Walnut Lake for the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast, the 5th annual version of this event here, the first time in this location, but a great new location that allows us to get so many people, so many veterans into this building today to celebrate this wonderful occasion. Of course, Veterans Day is on Friday, not today, but today being Election Day, it's a great way to celebrate our veterans, thank them for this hallmark freedom that we do have here in the U.S., in this republic of ours, and here in our community here in West Bloomfield Township, in the greater West Bloomfield area. West Bloomfield Township, of course, where this event is taking place, but celebrating our veterans throughout our 4 communities here in the greater West Bloomfield area. The show is coming up. We'll have a full celebration of our veterans from all 6 branches now of the military, as we welcome recently in to the U.S. military, the new branch of Space Force, but we also have our Army, our Navy, our Marines, of course, our Air Force, and our Coast Guard as well, those 6 branches. And as you can see, great turnout here at this event. Tons of veterans out there, others from the community, here to celebrate our Veterans Day, and as we bring Dave Scott back with us. But no, this event will be kicking off just a few minutes away. It will be emceed, of course, by the chair of the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Commission, Robert Brooks, and we'll also hear from Kelly Heyer, as well as many others. We'll hear from our from our honor guard here, from the West Bloomfield Police Department and Fire Department, and of course, plenty to be said about our veterans.
And maybe you could get the nice shot of the stage here, Tyler. You can see that this year we've had vocalists in the past,
Yes.
but we've never really had. Look, hear the sound. Sounds great,
wonderful.
yeah.
Yes.
This string quartet here that will be performing here this morning, so they sound great. Tyler and I are going to get out of the way. Enjoy this beautiful breakfast. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching on Civic Center TV. And for everybody in the room, I want to let everyone in the room know that this broadcast is going to be on TV. We're starting in just a moment. And just want to let you know there are TV cameras here, so just be aware of that. And if you want to watch this after you go home today, it'll all be on Civic Center TV. Kelly Heyer will be on stage in a minute. We'll get the program underway. Have a great morning and a terrific Heroes Appreciation Breakfast.
Good morning. We'll do a little sound check. How's the audio back in the back? Oh, I'm getting thumbs up. Okay. Well, good morning. Welcome, veterans, volunteers, community partners, and thank you for joining us on this very special morning. Election Day, as we honor our heroes, our special guests. My name is Kelly Heyer, and I'm Recreation Superintendent for West Bloomfield Parks. So it's my pleasure to do some introductions and kick off the program today. So let's start with a few rounds of thank yous. It's only fitting for November. Thank you to our amazing host, West Bloomfield School District. The middle school just opened this school year, and isn't this auditoria amazing? Thank you for hosting. To our wonderful entertainment, the Kalkaska String Quartet and Civic Center TV, for bringing this wonderful program into people's homes to celebrate our veterans from across the country. To our generous event sponsors and partners, our presenting sponsor, HAP, which you'll hear from Adam shortly. To our supporting sponsors, America's Choice, Provision Living, Henry Ford Health, Brookstone Realtors, Sunrise Senior Living, and Brookdale Senior Living. Thank you. Today would not be possible without the support from our event partners, hardworking Heroes Appreciation Planning Committee, and dedicated volunteers. On behalf of West Bloomfield Parks, a very special thank you to West Bloomfield Township, West Bloomfield Library, the school district, and West Bloomfield Police Department for their teamwork and attention to detail. And last but not least, to our veterans joining us this morning, thank you for being here. We salute you. The West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Commission is dedicated to providing the residents of West Bloomfield with connections to nature and quality recreation experiences that encourage active lifestyles, personal wellness, and promote the protection of natural resources. Here with us today to help as we honor each of you to serve as our Master of Ceremony is the Chairman of West Bloomfield Parks. Chair Brooks spent much of his time living and traveling overseas throughout his career in the automotive industry, which helped instill in him a spirit of continual thanks to our U.S. veterans for their service. To get us starting for breakfast and to lead us through our morning, please help me welcome Robert Brooks.
Good morning to all. This morning I am so honored to be here with you, and not only am I honored, I'm humbled, because in service here to this community over the last 9 years, being on the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Commission, which I currently chair, which we alternate the chair, but I tell you, I have never been so amazed and pleased with coming out and being part of an activity that really lifts up our real heroes. So again, I thank you for that. And with that said, I'd like to welcome you all here. And I want to tell you what Veterans Day means to me. As I was asked to do this, Kaylin asked me a little bit about myself. And as you heard Kelly just mention that I lived overseas. Well, I lived overseas for a company by the name of General Motors. I went over there in the late 90s, and I went to Seoul, Korea. And the backdrop of that story is that my father served in the military, in the Army, and went over during the Korean conflict. My dad served near the DMZ and was injured. And one thing that my dad brought into my life as a young person was service was so very important. And whether we get injured in our service, we continue to move on. And while I served General Motors in the late 90s in Korea, and then later also in Japan and all across Asia, I thought to myself, although I couldn't serve in the military, I, with pride and joy, looked upon that land as a place my father had been, and a place where he had left some roots of sorts before coming back and marrying my mother. And with that said, I'd like to recognize my mother and sister that are here today. Of course, without my mother, I wouldn't be here. And needless to say, my sister came before me 14 months. And all that said, my father, who is now deceased, instilled in all of us community service. So with that said, I would like to personally salute and thank each and every one of the veterans here today and their families for their support in the recognition of our Heroes Day here today. Now in our beginning, I'd like you to join us to support our veterans, but before we begin, let us stand together for the presentation of colors by the West Bloomfield Police Department, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the sing-along to our national anthem. Please rise. Please remain standing as we have our Pledge of Allegiance led by Adam from HAP.
Well, good morning. My name's Adam Simon. It's an absolute honor to spend this morning with you on today of all days, Election Day. Men and women from all over the country are exercising their right and their freedom to vote because of your sacrifice, your dedication to our country, and because you fought and protected our freedom. So on behalf of HAP, we want to honor you. We want to thank each and every one of you for the freedoms that we enjoy today. So thank you. And would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And please be seated. A warm and special thank you goes out to our honor guard and our wonderful musicians here to my left. Let us give an applause. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the stage the Reverend Monica Williams, who will give an invocation and blessing of our veterans. Welcome.
Good morning. It is an honor to be here with all of you this morning and to have the opportunity to bring the blessing for this day. I invite you to be in an attitude of prayer together with me so that we might invite God's blessing on our time. O holy God, we call you by many names, but you are one and the same to us all, our beginning and our end. We thank you for this opportunity for us to gather as a community to honor our veterans who have faithfully served our nation. We give thanks for all that they have given for us, for their hard work and sleepless nights that have allowed us to sleep well, for their time and dedication that has contributed to the strength of our nation, for their sacrifices, placing their bodies and minds in service to country, being willing to suffer injury and give even their lives so that others might have safety. And for their families who have walked alongside of them and bent their lives to support service to country and endure their absence for love of country. May we honor them all, not only in word, but also in how we think, act, and serve. We pray especially for those who have been wounded in their service, both wounds seen and unseen, in body, mind, and spirit, that have brought suffering for them and their loved ones. We pray for you to give them strength and courage even now, and for the rest of us to remember and honor those sacrifices, care for them as dutifully and sacrificially as they have cared for us, and never to forget their honorable service. Help us use this time well then, dear God. May our time together fill us with gratitude for our veterans and service personnel still on active duty today. And may we honor the sacred trust of democracy this election day with our votes for those who will oversee our republic in that same spirit of service. We ask now, Great Spirit, that you would bless this time, the food prepared for us today, that they would both fill us and strengthen us and serve to bring us together today as one community under God that endlessly struggles for liberty and justice for all. Amen.
A warm thank you to Reverend Monica Williams. At this time, we move forward on our program. I'd like you to take special note of those that are sitting at tables with you, and I'd like you to take the time to meet and know one another. This is always not only a great time as our volunteers come forward to move you on to the breakfast buffet, but it gives you an opportunity to reflect on your stories, because we all have a story. With that said, wait for your table to be called, and our volunteers will be wearing red, white, and blue aprons, and they'll be here to assist you, not only calling your table, but if you have any difficulty going to the buffet, they will also help you with your plates. Volunteers will be assisting as well with refilling coffee at the table, so if you need coffee or water or whatever, just please raise your hand, and your volunteer will come near to you and help in any way they can. During your breakfast, we will have live music by the Kalkaska String Quartet, and we'll be back soon with our 5th annual Heroes Appreciation Breakfast Program. Enjoy your breakfast.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us right here on Civic Center TV. My name is Dave Scott, along with Tyler Keith. Going to make a couple of little adjustments here so we can be heard, Tyler. There you go. Thank you very much. And a little bit of that there. Let's get the quartet out of the way here a little bit. Thank you. We're mixing for the how. They probably don't care how I'm mixing. The people watching, they probably don't care. Okay. So thank you very much for being with us. Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe. We're here at the Heroes Breakfast at the West Bloomfield Middle School. You're seeing this wonderful string quartet that we have, and really nice, very emotional start here with the prayers and the words, and we heard from Mr. Brooks from the commission and the Parks Commission doing a great job chairing this event. And Tyler, everyone's in a really good mood on this election day and taking good opportunity to honor the veterans here today at the annual Heroes Breakfast.
Yeah, it's a great start already, honoring our veterans, thanking them for their service, and of course, giving some early recognition. They'll, of course, be well fed this morning, too, and thanks for their service in that regard. And then we'll continue on in just a little while here, and I have some more words for all of our veterans. We'll hear from many different individuals, again, from Chairman Brooks from the Parks and Recreation Commission, as well as Patty and Tony Soma. We'll talk about the missing man. Of course, we see, we'll put it up there on camera one, as we'll get rid of our string quartet graphic there. You can see that table off to the left there. That is representative. It's not just an empty table. That is a table for the missing man, or for those veterans that have not been brought home. And, of course, that is such an important part of today, as we recognize not only the 6 branches of our United States military, but also recognize our prisoners of war and those that are missing in action, our POW MIA community as well.
Well, and those of us that haven't had a chance to go to Arlington or to some of the other national monuments where we can honor those that we have lost. I mean, by the way, it's a good thing to do.
It is.
And take your kids and make an outing of it. But if you've not done that with your family, or if you've not done that for a while, this is kind of a nice way with the table to, just take an opportunity on Veterans Day. Yes, we're all happy, but we are not. The significance of the contribution of the veterans is not lost here today.
Of course, and while Veterans Day is a celebration of our veterans, and Memorial Day is the day that we utilize to remember those who have fallen in action, been injured in action as well, we'd be remiss not to think about those that have fought and lost their lives, or fought and been severely injured, or injured in any way in combat in service of our country when we celebrate Veterans Day.
All right, so Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe here. We're going to be live on the air today, here probably till about 11 o'clock. We are here, of course, broadcasting live at the Heroes Breakfast. Certainly a great event here in West Bloomfield. Also, it's election day. You're heading out to the polls. We mentioned it earlier, but worthy of mentioning again, Tyler. You're heading out to the polls. Early indications from my observations, it's going to be a busy day here in West Bloomfield. And nationally, we've had a huge turnout. The early numbers I heard from some of the states that they've measured this, it's like millions. Like in Georgia, I heard the number of 2 million people have voted already.
Yeah.
Now, you got to put that in the context. I assume Georgia's about the size of Michigan. There are only 10 million people total here in the state of Michigan. Maybe Georgia's a little bit bigger, but probably not much, probably in that ballpark. That's a huge number. And the expectations are this time around that because of the high level of passion that's going on right now, we've seen a lot of people already vote. And then a lot of people are going to vote today, too. So it's going to be it's almost like a presidential election level turnout today.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially since the onset of no reason absentee voting here in Michigan, which was voted in, of course, in 2018 by the Michigan electorate and in other places across the union as well, where there's widespread absentee voting opportunity or early voting opportunities. That turnout is a lot greater. Typically, we have seen those midterm elections, certainly in the primary elections and in special elections, that turnout is significantly different, looking now like it could be near that presidential level, maybe not quite at that level, but much closer than it ever has been before because of those scenarios. So expect the results to be a little bit later in certain areas of our state and certain areas of the country as well. I spoke to Oakland County Clerk Lisa Brown last week on the MegaCast here on Civic Center TV, and from her indication, she does not expect there to be delayed results here in Oakland County, given the staffing that they have and given the staffing that our local clerk's offices also have. So we can expect to have results on election night here in Oakland County, barring any other extenuating circumstances, but other places may be a little bit slower.
You know, you take a look at all the attention has really been on the national races, and a lot of attention certainly on what's going to happen with the House and especially what's going to happen in the Senate. But the gubernatorial races around the country have been getting a tremendous amount of attention. Certainly here in Michigan, that is not to be ignored. This is a huge election for people in Michigan. I expect we're going to see a big turnout. You've got at least a contested gubernatorial race, although Governor Whitmer has been doing a little bit better in the polls. And then you've got ballot initiatives that are huge, one dealing with abortion and other ballot initiatives that are getting a lot of attention. And then the other stuff, we don't want to ignore that really, especially for us, all politics is local. Right? So we have an election. We've got council members in Sylvan Lake that are going to be, and Kego too, and then we've got a lot of state house, school board,
plenty of people
big
up for re-election.
School board election,
in school board here locally. We mentioned the city councils. We have local legislative positions, senatorial positions as well. Many of our local politicians, even with redistricting, remain representing our area, and others that are coming in a little bit new and. Some veteran politicians, some new to the game as well, representing our local area. And then you think, too, you mentioned the statewide races. It looks like Michigan's going to be, again, a very competitive state right down the center. As I spoke to Dave Dulio from Oakland University, the professor of political science, director of the Center for Civic Engagement over there as well. And looking as the weeks have gone on, the gubernatorial poll's gotten closer. The Attorney General poll has gotten into almost a dead heat between Republican challenger Matthew DePerno and, of course, the incumbent Attorney General from West Bloomfield, Dana Nessel, right around 44% in favor of Nessel, 43% for DePerno, well within the margin of error. The only one of those big three in the state that's really looking like it's going to be nowhere close is the Secretary of State race between Christina Caramo, the Republican challenger, and the incumbent Democratic Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson.
And, this is all anecdotal, but it's just in watching the coverage, and you and I have both been consuming massive amounts of political coverage in between watching football. And in consuming that, you just get the sense with all of the variables that are, especially in the national level, that are affecting this election. You understand why there's all the passion, but you just get the sense that maybe the polls don't mean as much as they have in the past. We're seeing all these big swings, like right down at the critical hour, crunch time. So, you've got all kinds of factors. And again, not getting political, just listing them out.
Of course.
You've got, Trump getting really active. You got Biden getting really active. You got, these guys, you got Obama, who I watched on TV over the weekend. And whether you're a fan of his or not, he's just probably the best speaker we've had as a president that I can ever remember. And, he's out there in the campaign trail. And then you've got, the Republican issues, and then you've got abortion. And there are so many key issues. I just can't remember a midterm election where there's been so much that people are going to get passionate about and head to the polls. And you can't, I mean, you can measure that, but that gets very difficult to measure. And I think those people really in the know, they've been saying, hey, this is what the polls are saying, and we're seeing a move a little bit, but almost everything seems tied if you look at it from 10,000-foot level, and there's more uncertainty than ever. And you can take this, tradition of the president in his first midterm and this and that and the other thing's supposed to happen, who knows this year? It's just different.
With the age of social media, with the age of us all having, basically the ability to broadcast or to send out information at light speed anywhere in the world right now, we are seeing more of that impact of our constant communication on these polls, certainly on our political outcomes, and really it has diminished the impact that polls have and really being able to forecast where our elections are going. You think about those big swings you talk about. Somebody gets a video of somebody making a joke, making a political gaffe, saying something out of turn, certainly some off-mic thing that was recorded, that can swing something back and forth. It used to be that, you go to 6 o'clock news, you'd see Walter Cronkite, or in my day it'd be Peter Jennings or Tom Brokaw. They'd come on with the big news, and that's where those big swings would come from. They come from your local news, it come from the national news. Now it can come from your neighbor or some stranger down the street or across town that gets a little video or hears a comment. And, there's so much information out there, but there's also a lot of really good information out there that we have access to more than ever before to explore these candidates, to explore these issues, and go to the polls as an informed voter. So if you haven't voted early, if you haven't voted absentee, if you haven't gone to the polls yet and you don't have time this morning, take your break today during your work day, do a little last-minute research, know your candidates, know your issues, and make sure that when you cast that vote, you understand exactly what you're voting for.
Yeah, and get out and vote, because I think more than ever, I guess the point I was getting back to is that more than ever, all this noise, I'm not so sure how relevant it is. Some years you hear all of the expertise and you just think, well, why even go out and vote? This thing, the polls have indicated this is going to happen. And is my little vote going to change anything? If you feel that way, too bad, because there's a lot of veterans here today that would like you to go out and vote all the time. But if that's kind of the way you are, then this is your year to get out and vote, because there's no certainty about anything. Everything is up for play. Your vote will make a difference. I promise you, there are going to be races, and it isn't just going to be, a local, office in Kegel Harbor or Sylvan Lake. There's going to be races, big ones, that are going to be decided by a very small margin, by less than 1%. I think this news cycle is going to be going on and busy for a while. So this is our day. Like I said earlier, this is great. It's the celebration of the veterans, and it's our day to take control of the political system, and the way you do that is to get out and vote. So in this environment, we really encourage you to do that. So thank you for listening to all that. And again, we'll be keeping an eye on it. Now, if you want to find out, one of the best ways, in fact, really the only way, to credibly get the information that you want about what's happening here on the hyper-local front is to do exactly what you do and said, Tyler, and that is to get out to the Oakland County clerk site. They do a great job. They put the election, the Oakland County election results up almost instantly. They've got a digital system, their technology down there. And if you want to see what's going on in the West Bloomfield School Board, you want to see what's going on in the Keego Harbor and the Sylvan races, you want to see what's going on with our ballot proposals and the statewide issues locally. You want to see our local races too. You're going to see it right there, and there, Channel 4, Channel 7, WJR, even your good friends at Civic Center TV aren't going to get it any quicker because that's where we all get that information. So you can just go there yourself to the Oakland County website tonight and get all the election data you want.
Yeah, it's all available right there, and I know after this morning's event here at West Bloomfield Middle School, we will make sure that we have a link to that on our website, civiccentertv.com. You'll find that right on the homepage. We do suggest you use a browser such as Firefox, something that's not Chrome, to access that and click on it, make sure it goes through all smoothly. Sometimes it doesn't on Chrome. Google doesn't like certain things. It's okay, but we'll have that link for you that will take you directly to that, so you don't have to jump through all the hoops you need to get to the right spot and explore the Oakland County website. If you haven't been there before, you'll have those results one click away if you go to civiccentertv.com.
Yeah, you're just going to put that on the homepage.
Of course.
There's a big art area right at the homepage. You just go right there, and you click on that thing, and it'll take you right there, and then you'll
won't be switching over. That'll be just one banner there. It won't switch. It'll stay there all day and all through the morning. Yes.
You're not going to promote the MegaCast or any of your other fine work on there?
No. People will go there tomorrow morning. They'll see it right next to it in that little box that says "Watch Live" on the homepage. So.
All right. So we have a little recess here, but we have some wonderful music. We're going to let you listen in, and we'll check out the string quartet, the Kalkaska String Quartet. I assume they're from Kalkaska. Can we assume that? Okay. And Tyler and I will be back in a couple of minutes. They're serving breakfast to the veterans here, and then we'll get back into our program in a couple of minutes. And thank you very much for staying tuned and listening. Our radio listeners are going to be driving down the road, and they're going to get a very sophisticated level of entertainment this morning as they're driving to the polls.
Yeah, very weekend mornings on NPR kind of action happening here, Dave.
All right, let's get out of the way. Thank you for tuning in, Tyler and I, at West Bloomfield Middle School. The broadcast isn't going away. We're going to let you listen in to the Kalkaska String Quartet.
picking again, so I couldn't hear sometimes. Sorry about that. Should we do winter or something? Sure. What about under Vivaldi? Okay.
Yeah, I've heard to use all pits.
Yeah. I have pits. Okay. Let's do the last one.
Speak for yourself.
Take it away. How fast is it?
Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us. If you're listening on the radio and wondering what all this wonderful music is, it is the Kalkaska String Quartet, and they are absolutely terrific, and we're hearing them live on the beautiful brand new stage at the West Bloomfield Middle School Auditoria, where today is the site of the annual Heroes Breakfast. And if it's going to be a Heroes Breakfast, there's got to be breakfast. So that kind of takes a little bit of time to make happen. We've got a couple of extra minutes. Program will continue in a few. If you're watching on Civic Center TV, you're seeing this beautiful facility, absolutely spectacular, and many of the veterans and others having their meals. You can see in the background there's a lot of people still waiting in line. So we've got just a couple of more minutes. But what a spectacular facility. You can see right there on camera 3, you can see the beautiful room. And then over on camera 1, you can see this absolutely incredible stage where the Kalkaska String Quartet is performing right now, where we will get back in just a couple of minutes as the program continues. But we do have a couple of minutes. Thank you for tuning in. It is Election Day, so a reminder again to make sure you get out and vote. And of course, it is also our Heroes Breakfast this morning. And we thank you for joining us from the middle school. Joining us right now is another key member of our team from the Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission, our good friend, Deb Macon. Hi, Deb.
Hey, Dave. What a treat being here this morning.
Isn't this amazing?
It is. And so many organizations within Greater West Bloomfield come together to make this happen. There are volunteers from the police department, from the library, from the West Bloomfield School District to make this happen.
Well, and it does take we've got the string quartet here. It takes more than a quartet to put an event like this together. It takes a whole symphony. The only thing I regret is that our cameras are pointed on the stage, and I can't get one on you and I right now. But believe me, it's Deb Macon, and she's really here. And Deb is involved in so many different events, Michigan Week, and on and on and on. That you appreciate just talking about the challenge of putting together an event like this and in a brand new facility. It isn't easy.
Absolutely. And you know what? I was remiss by not acknowledging Pastor Monica. Pastor Monica Williams is the president of the Greater West Bloomfield Clergy Association and Community Forum. And that's one more key organization that brings all of the congregations, whatever their faith beliefs are, with members of the community. And so we can always count on that organization to bring us great blessings and prayers and acknowledgement.
Well, and one of the things that starting an event like this, starting an event like Michigan Week, which we did 50 years ago, and then I'll get to my point about that in a minute, or getting involved in anything, is once you do something and it becomes good, well, people want it every year.
Absolutely. That is true.
They want it back. You're kind of setting it up. And so Michigan Week, which you've been involved in for quite a while and put a huge amount of work into, just celebrated its 50th anniversary. We are very involved in Broadcast Live. This event is not a 50-year-old event. It feels like it, though. It's so well organized.
It is.
And it just keeps getting bigger and better every year. And you know, that this one really warms my heart. Michigan does because we recognize volunteers. This one because of the veterans that we get together, have an opportunity to feed and honor and say thank you.
Absolutely. My husband Ken and I have attended all 5. This is the fifth one, and bigger, better, more people are here than I believe in the others. Yes. And he's a retired artillery officer and just regrets that he couldn't have been here this morning, but wanted to know all of this.
Well, I hope he's watching on Civic Center TV. Hi, Ken. Hi, Ken Macon.
Of course, absolutely.
So your wife is here working hard, totally behaving herself, and she had no carbs, although she can get away with it. I can't, for breakfast. But, Deb, it's good to have you here. This is also Election Day,
yes.
And, getting all of the notoriety in this election, at least from our media, have been all the big national elections. But let us not forget that we have some critical local elections.
Absolutely.
And assembling a school board, which we're doing in West Bloomfield and probably some of the other neighboring communities as well. All of them.
All of them.
Deb knows this because she was on the school board in Bloomfield Hills. But, assembling a school board, there is nothing more grassroots and local that you can have a direct impact. If you say, hey, those guys in Washington, poo-hoo. But, your school board, what a great thing to get involved in and go out and vote for.
Absolutely. And the school boards are accessible. They meet right within the community, and we can attend their meetings, have direct access. It really does make a difference to reach out and get to know who our local elected officials are.
And one of the things that's been interesting as we evolve into a social media environment here. It takes criticism from so many people, but it's been really cool this year because the school board candidates have had the ability to communicate with people through social media like never before. It's pretty hard to find a really good communication vehicle other than a yard sign, right? If you're a local candidate. And I go on to like the West Bloomfield Facebook group, and
yes.
You'll probably get on there, right? And if people don't go to some of these hyper local social media environments, it's not, you don't have these crazy national people polluting it with stuff that you don't want to see. It's usually, maybe Joe's painting service or something like
yes.
that, right? Or somebody holding an event. I found the West Acres craft show last weekend.
Oh my
that way.
gosh,
It was great.
yes.
Absolutely terrific. And then a lot of candidates, local candidates, and it's kind of cool because they get an opportunity to communicate and not just say their name on a yard sign, but talk a little bit about what they're really all about.
Absolutely, and it's an important way to reach out and have connections with so many more, even especially those who don't have children in school today.
Right. Well, listen. You talk to a lot of people, and in our communities, we've got a lot of wealthy people that have very expensive homes. I'm just talking point blank, right? And maybe don't have kids in school, but that doesn't mean that you just can't instantly assume they're not all fired up and excited about supporting the school district. But they deserve a say, too. They're investing a lot of money into our school districts. You've got all kinds of people with a wide variety of reasons to want to engage.
Absolutely.
So she wasn't going there, Tyler. I tried. So in addition to all that, certainly this election day is just very special. And I think it's kind of nice that it all fell on the same date as this event. At first it was like, I don't know, we're kind of busy on election day. But then I thought, well, this is the People's Day.
Absolutely.
Right?
It
In our
is.
whole political process. Isn't today the campaigns are over? This is our day.
Well, I don't know if we can say the campaigns are over
Well,
yet. It's going to take a little bit of time to settle things up. Schools are now closed in Michigan because of Election Day. And you know what? If schools weren't closed, we wouldn't be able to be here in this amazing place.
Well, it's kind of why this did work out from a timing standpoint. And yes, when you go to the polling places, I know all the campaigns are doing that. And that probably really from a maybe not from an advertising standpoint, but from a practical standpoint at a grassroots level, this probably is the busiest day for the campaign. And getting people out to vote, driving them to the polling places, making phone calls, reminding people, all that grassroots stuff that you don't think about, right?
That is exactly it. And today I'm in grassroots mode with my League of Women Voter hat on.
That's what I want. See, and I knew there was something in my craw that I wanted to talk about that I forgot. Because Tyler was sitting over here going, what do you mean the only way to find out about these boards and everything is social media? He's been working really hard with the League of Women Voters to make sure that we continue to broadcast the school board, the state rep night we did, Sylvan Lake we did, Kego we did. So those have been great, and our partnership with the League of Women Voters, thanks for bringing that up, is strong and vibrant, and we work really hard with them.
And I'm an active member of the local league here, And we absolutely appreciate that, so much so that actually written in to our policies at the Cable Communications Commission
Yes.
is that we partner with the League of Women Voters because of their reputation for fairness and forthrightness and their commitment to democracy. So what a great plug.
So almost everyone is eating except the color guard, and this isn't going to start until the color guard eats. I wish I could show that picture right now. But let's just take 30 seconds,
Okay.
self-serving here, a minute or two, and talk a little bit about what we do and why we're able to do this and how important this is. So in a lot of communities, there isn't a Civic Center TV. It just doesn't exist. The funding sources aren't there. It doesn't happen. Here in West Bloomfield, we really have a great opportunity to take take this wonderful event and put it on television, cover the West Bloomfield Lakers, cover all of our municipal meetings, do all these League of Women Voters nights, and on and on and on and on and on, and do them on television and on radio.
Yes.
And it is the Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission that manages all that, along with a really wonderful guy by the name of Dave Alberry,
Yes.
our executive director. And just tell people real quickly, Deb, because you're right there. I mean, where's that money come from, and how does that work?
All right, here's how this works. Anyone who subscribes to Xfinity, Comcast Cable, or AT&T, a percentage of their bill literally goes to support what we're doing here today. You know what? Now I want to follow up on something you said. Other communities could have chosen to do that, but what those communities did is choose to have the cable franchise fees go directly into their city or their township. The residents of West Bloomfield have been forever committed to public television, to learning about their local government, and that was an easy decision of the West Bloomfield Township Board to make, to maintain the Cable Commission, and we are really proud of that decision being made by the township at the time. And
it always warms my heart when I think about it, because you've been working on this for a long time, and Juba, who's been on our cable commission for a long time, has been
since
working
since its beginning.
And then I get a little plug for the family. And then my mother, Agnes Scott, who was very involved in Detroit Public Television,
Yes.
also played a fundamental role in getting all this going, and it just makes me excited. I know she's looking down on me right now and saying, good job, keep it up. There's a lot of work. No, she's saying get to work is what she's doing. But but you know, there are people that set this up at the beginning in our community, and it's a cool thing. I mean, this communication tool is very effective, and it's really, talk about social media, it's gotten a lot better.
Absolutely.
And we've been able to impact so many more people through putting things on YouTube, putting them on Facebook, putting them in social media. So little self-indulgent time here while we have a minute or two, but I think it's important people know that this resource is available, and we're always trying to make it better.
Absolutely.
All right, Deb. Anything else?
You know what? Let's make sure everyone shares with their neighbors and friends how to access this beautiful programming. Those of who are here know that it's being recorded, but make sure.
All right. Well, in fact, the program is going to get going right again. So
Wonderful.
we got to get out of the way, and we're going to go back to the main stage and get this program back underway.
Thank you.
Wave when I call your name, I'd certainly appreciate that. We have, first of all, Steve Kaplan, our West Bloomfield Township Manager. Steve. We have Joe Ketchum, our West Bloomfield Parks Executive Director. Robert Wittenberg, who is our Oakland County Treasurer. I'm not sure he's with us today. Our West Bloomfield Police Department Honor Guards, you saw them all earlier. Our Fire Chief, Greg Flynn, I haven't seen him, but maybe, oh, there he is. Mike Patton, our Chief of Police. Terry Weingarten, our West Bloomfield Treasurer. I don't see. Our Oakland County veterans, all of our Oakland County veterans that are here. Blue Star Moms of America. I see several in line there. Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. I saw someone. Our West Bloomfield Schools Assistant Superintendent, Kyle Anderson. I saw him with an apron on. Carol Finkelstein, our West Bloomfield School Board of Trustee. And if I missed anyone, I apologize in advance. However, we welcome you all here today. And of course, we can't forget to thank our very hardworking community constituents, such as those in our clerk's office, who would want to remind you today that the polls are open until 8 p.m. tonight to demonstrate your civic duties. So please go out and vote today. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to our introduction of our missing man speakers. Today, we stand beside each of you and honor you today, just as we honor those who cannot be with us today, who are watching from afar, and those who never came home. This next pair of speakers holds a particularly close sentiment to this important topic and recognition of those who laid down their lives or those who have an ailment that disables them from being here today. Here with us today to present the MIA POW Missing Man Table Address, we welcome Patty and Tony Soma from the POW MIA Committee of Michigan and the Board of Directors of Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency advocating for our senior citizens. Welcome.
Good morning, West Bloomfield, and thank you for inviting us today. And to our veterans, thank you for your service.
It is an honor for my wife and I to be here with you today. We will talk to you about the missing man table and its meaning. The reason we do this is because the POW MIA issue became personal to us on Friday, October 1st, 1965. My cousin, then United States Air Force First Lieutenant Martin John Masucci, Marty to his family and friends, was the backseater in an F-4C that was part of a 3-aircraft reconnaissance mission along Route 155 in North Vietnam. Captain Charles Scharf was the pilot. When they were near their target, their aircraft was struck by anti-aircraft fire and began to burn. A Mayday call was transmitted and their wingman advised them to bail out. The wingman observed that a parachute had opened. As he focuses attention on the descending parachute, the aircraft continued on for several kilometers before impacting along the side of Song Mountain in North Vietnam. The chute that had opened was observed descending behind a hill and touched down to open level terrain. The two members of the recon mission circled the area for approximately 10 minutes, attempting a radio and visual contact with the down crew, but to no avail. At this point in time, my cousin, Marty Masucci, was missing in action from the Vietnam War. It wasn't until the following Sunday, October 3rd, that my father gathered our family together to tell us what had happened. I was 11 at the time. I remember it like it was yesterday. We were very close to our Masucci cousins, and it hit us all hard. For the next several months, we would ask my dad what was the latest on Marty's case. And he told us the feeling was that it was Marty that had parachuted, but that there was never much more information. While Marty was always in our hearts and minds, it wasn't until the Vietnam War ended that he was once again in the forefront. We had heard the news that the POWs were released and prayed that Marty was among them. But again, it was not to be. Marty was not among the POWs that were released from Vietnam. Fast forward 57 years, and we still do not have a definitive answer about Marty. We have learned many facts, though. Our government is still actively exploring crash sites in North Vietnam, and they have located and investigated the crash site of the Phantom F-4C that Marty and Captain Scharf were in. They found enough DNA evidence to determine that Captain Scharf was in the air crash when it crashed. Captain Scharf was interred with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery on November 30th, 2006. However, there was no evidence that Marty was in the aircraft when it crashed. We do know now that it was Marty that must have parachuted. So we continue to wait and pray. The mantra of the POW MIA issue is to never forget and never give up. And that is what we do, and that is why we are here today. For Marty and for the 81,503 MIAs from World War II to our current conflicts. So now I ask you to please direct your attention to the special table reserved to honor our missing servicemen and women.
This table is set for one. The empty chair represents Americans who were or are missing from each of the services: Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard, and our civilians who join us today in spirit.
All Americans should never forget the brave men and women who answered our nation's call and served the cause of freedom in a special way. Let us explain the meaning of the table.
The table is round to show our everlasting concern. The cloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to serve. A single red rose reminds us of the lives of these Americans and their loved ones and friends who keep the faith while seeking answers. The yellow ribbon symbolizes our continued uncertainty, hope for their return, and determination to account for them. A slice of lemon reminds us of the bitter fate, captured and missing in a foreign land. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears of our missing and our families who long for answers after decades of uncertainty. A candle reflects our hope for their return, alive or dead. A Bible will represent the strength gained through faith to sustain us and those lost from our country, founded as one nation under God. The glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share a toast. The chair is empty because they are missing.
Please raise your glass in a toast to honor America's POW MIAs, to the success of our efforts to account for them, and to the safety of all now serving our nation.
As we approach this holiday season, please remember those that will not be with their loved ones, whether they be serving to protect our freedom and also those who have not come home yet. At your holiday celebration, please raise a glass to them and think of all the families who keep an empty place at the table and keep the faith until they all come home.
Never forget, never give up.
Thank you.
Thank you again to Tony and to Patty for the missing man ceremony and discussion and the knowledge that you gave us to understand the missing man table. At this time, I turn your attention in the program to that of our keynote speaker, and I am honored to introduce our speaker. He is Captain Mike Mose, lovingly known as Cap Mike. He retired at the age of 68 from 31 years in the Navy as a corpsman, physician's assistant. His retirement was short-lived, as he recalled in 2020, to help with the COVID crisis, working as a naval officer in uniform at the VA hospital. He still works in this capacity 2 to 3 days a week. Captain Mose has traveled on multiple deployments during his service time, including in Vietnam, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and multiple sea deployments, to name a few. With these experiences, Captain Mike grew in rank, responsibilities, and skill over his career. Captain Mike has dedicated his entire adult life to his service, and today we are proud to welcome Captain Mike to speak with our West Bloomfield veterans at this, our annual Heroes Appreciation Banquet. Would you all please join with me in giving a very happy welcome.
Age. I'd like to start out, but first of all, I make an announcement that I included what Captain's coin. They are challenge coins. They were put in. I didn't have enough of them, so if you didn't get one, sign the clipboard, and I'll make sure that you get one. I'd like to read a poem first. It was written by Joanna Fuchs, who Sergeant George Fuchs lost his life and was awarded the Medal of Honor. It's the best on earth. It's a Veterans Day tribute. Now, if someone has done military service, they earn the title of veteran and more. They earn our deep respect and admiration, that they are special, that no one can ignore. They sacrifice the comforts we enjoy. The list is long, and all of the things they gave. Our veterans are extraordinary people. They're loyal, dedicated, true, and brave. When terror and invasion were real threats, they showed us that they could handle any storm. We owe our freedoms and our very lives to our veterans who served in uniform. Our veterans should be celebrities. They're exceptional and no other group compares. We're grateful for the many things they've done. They're always in our hearts and in our prayers. Now, we owe our veterans support and friendship. Let no one ever question what they're worth. These men and women served us and our country. Our veterans, the very best on earth. I'd like to welcome you today to the ceremony and thank you for all attending. I'm honored to be speaking with you today on such an important occasion. We're here today to honor our service members and to remember their sacrifices that they have made and the courage it took to defend, honor, duty, and country. Now, valor is stability, and I don't mean arms and legs, but of that courage of the soul. We're here today to honor our heroes. And the definition of hero, my favorite was the quote from Admiral William Halsey in World War II, Vice Admiral. And he stated that there is no such thing as a hero. It's just the right person at the right time, in the right place, doing the right thing. But we must remember the achievements of our veterans, their courage and their dedication, and to say thank you for their sacrifices. Thinking of our military personnel who join us today, and those who are here only in spirit, a person can't be awed by the enormity of what we have encountered or what we will encounter. Our debt to our veterans can never be repaid, but our gratitude and our respect must last forever. I'd like to ask the service members and veterans who are here today, please stand up. For many years, our nation was important enough to endure long separations from their families, miss the birth of their children, freeze in sub-zero temperatures, bake in wild jungles, and endure the sands of the desert. They've lost limbs, and far too often, they've lost their lives. Thank you for answering the call of duty. You have made our armed forces the most respected in the world, and I salute you. Please be seated. Now, I'd like to ask the family members of any of the service members of the veterans also, please stand up. Do we have any? Yeah, okay. Family members have had to endure career interruptions, frequent address changes, and a disappropriate share of parental responsibilities. The children often had to change schools and separated from their friends. The hardest of all, the uncertainty of whether mom or dad would return from their duty assignment. We know you have lived through difficult times and often had to take on a heavy load to keep the home fires burning. Thank you for what you have done, and I salute you. Please be seated. The service members that we honor here today came from all walks of life. They shared several fundamental qualities, though. They possessed courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and integrity. All qualities needed to serve a cause greater than oneself. Now, many of them didn't ask to leave their homes to fight on distant battlefields or operational theaters of war. Many didn't even volunteer. They didn't go to war because they love fighting. Now, a peaceful resolution should always be on the forefront. But when all else fails, we stand ready to respond. Now, these men and women were called to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They were ordinary people who responded in extraordinary ways in extreme times. Now, you cannot fight a war without veterans. And while the utopian idea of a society without war is appealing, let us not forget that wars have liberated slaves, toppled genocide, toppled terrorists. Our veterans rose to this nation's call because they wanted to protect a nation which has given them and us so much. Now, since the first shots were fired at Lexington and Concord, and our Revolutionary War began, American men and women have been answering the nation's call to duty. Millions of Americans have fought and died on battlefields here and abroad to defend our freedoms and our way of life. Today, our troops continue to make the ultimate sacrifice. And even as we lose troops, more Americans step forward to say, "I'm ready to serve." They follow in the footsteps of generations of fine Americans. Those who defend us from our enemies must be supported, whether their service was in Baghdad or Beirut or Saigon. We need to serve our veterans as well as they have served us. And even when the guns have temporarily stopped firing, and while not all veterans see war, all who served in the military have expressed a willingness to fight if called to do so. Now, we've awarded medals and military personnel and added their names to buildings, named them after ships, to honor them for their bravery. But nothing can ever replace the void by death or injuries of a service member, and no number of medals and ribbons can comfort those who have had to endure. Today we're gathered here to remember, to honor, and to pay gratitude to those who have served our country. Our gathering is just one small spark of the pride that burns across our nation today and every day. It's not a lot, but it's one small way that we can honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice so that we can live in freedom. Your presence today on this Election Day is a tribute to our troops, their families, and to those in spirit is a way to say, we remember. We remember. Thank you for attending today. God bless you and your families. God bless our troops, and God bless America.
Again, that was just so special from Captain Michael Jose. In our closing presentation, I'd like to invite Kelly back to the stage with me.
All right, thank you, Captain Mike, Patty, Tony, and Reverend Monica for the invocation of our veterans. To everyone who helped make today possible, I want to give some special shout outs to the WB Parks team, the lead of the committee, Kaylin McMahon, Heidi Russell, Ben Burr, Brittany Trout, and I'm hoping I'm not forgetting anybody. Megan, hello, Megan Taco. See, I can't see you. All right, we hoped you enjoyed this breakfast this morning. Thank you to the chefs in the back. But most importantly, we thank you. Thank you for your service. So we have a few more reminders before we wrap up for today. We want to thank WB elementary students and the middle school students for leaving you gifts of gratitude and little art pieces on the table. Please feel free to take those with you.
We'd like to thank Jacobson's Floral, who has donated the centerpieces today to whomever has the closest birthday to Veterans Day. So talk amongst yourselves around the table, and whoever has the closest birthday to Veterans Day is the winner of the floral. Please take it with you. Get to know those at your table, as I said earlier, and enjoy your floral arrangement.
And don't forget, if you had your portrait taken today, to thank Frameable Faces. When your portraits are printed and ready, we will contact you. If you didn't get your portrait taken today and would like one, Frameable Faces did have to leave, but we will happily take your portrait today of you and your guests. So just stand out in the lobby there, and we'll be around after we dismiss.
Lastly, each veteran will leave with a gift from our hosts, our sponsors, and our community donors to take away with them today. And as a token of our steadfast appreciation, don't forget your bag if you didn't get it at the door. Thank you once again to our presenting sponsor, HAP, for leading the pledge and for their continued support, as well as our supporting sponsors that are here with us today. Please stop by on your way out again and thank them for their generosity.
Again, today would not be possible without our support from our event partners. Hardworking Heroes Appreciation Planning Committee. So in regards to West Bloomfield Parks employees, we also are joined by West Bloomfield Township Library and West Bloomfield Township and West Bloomfield Police Department. So for those of you, Emily, Jeff, many kudos. James, thank you. Chris. In behalf of West Bloomfield Parks, we also want to extend a thank you to Civic Center TV, Tyler and Dave. We appreciate your time and ingenuity in putting together a really amazing program. Thank you, West Bloomfield Fire and Police, for the honor guard this morning. And again, our veterans, we salute you, we thank you. At this time, we welcome home.
Again, we salute you and thank you, and we remind you to go out and vote, but at the same time, we want you to have a wonderful Veterans holiday coming up. Thank you for being here.
The quartet's going to come on for a few more minutes.
Well, for once, the guy who mixes the microphones got the wrong microphone. But thank you very much for being a part of our broadcast today and tuning in for this inspirational broadcast here. Dave Scott, Tyler Keefe, Civic Center TV, and we are here at West Bloomfield Middle School. As Tyler, it was really quite a performance today by this musical group, motivational speeches, and then the highlight of the day, all the veterans that are here. Being here, enjoying a breakfast, having a chance to be recognized by the community, and a lot of good conversation going on right now in the audience as people are getting acquainted with each other and getting ready for this big Veterans Weekend holiday.
Yeah, Veterans Day, of course, on Friday. Celebrating it a little early here, starting the celebration in Greater West Bloomfield today with a great 5th annual Heroes Appreciation Breakfast here at West Bloomfield Middle School, and just a great way to start off a long week with Election Day, one of the hallmarks of our republic here in the United States, and all thanks to our veterans out here today and all those across the Greater West Bloomfield area, Oakland County, Michigan, and the United States.
So thank you very much for tuning into the broadcast today. If you want to see pieces of it or the broadcast in its entirety, we'll get it up on our social media outlets certainly in the next day or so. And the entire piece will be available for you to watch on Civic Center TV. Especially if you know somebody that attended, you might want to let them know that they can tune in and capture it again. And clearly on Friday, Veterans Day, will certainly make that a highlight of our program schedule, making it very easy for you to view it. So it is Election Day as well, Tyler, and that fact not missed on us. We're in a room that it almost looks like a political rally in here, really, in some way. You got the multicolored balloons and the flags up on the stage and everything in red, white, and blue. Obviously, we are honoring the veterans today, but it's Election Day, and, at the very beginning of this conversation, it's, as we transition into that a little bit, it's a great day with veterans here, and as we say thank you to them, to remember, of course, that we wouldn't have Election Day. We wouldn't have all this if it weren't for the veterans that were here and their contribution. But today is our day to celebrate our entire political process and get out and vote and participate and be a part of it.
Yeah, once again, polls are open until 8 o'clock today across the state of Michigan. If you are in line by 8 o'clock, you will be allowed to vote. You will be able to vote. So make sure you're, at the very least, in line at your precinct by 8 p.m. if you are voting, or have your absentee ballot into your local ballot drop boxes or into your local clerk's office. By that deadline, make sure your voice is heard, and then comes the fun part of it as we learn the results and analyze where our politics are and where our government will be going.
Well, and that may take a little while, to get sorted out, certainly in the national level. I suspect with our races here a little closer to home, we'll have a pretty good idea of what's going on by this evening, or at the very least, with a vast majority of them by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. And we will have exercised our right, and then, the work of governing begins. I don't know, for like at least another day or two before the next campaign season starts.
Yeah. It's usually how it goes about this time of the year, or probably shortly after the beginning of the next calendar year, not too far away, actually. As surprising as it is to say that, we'll start hearing about 2024. It never ends, Dave.
So a really nice opportunity, and you're showing this facility, and we'll get an opportunity to take a tour through this building at some point. But what a great facility we have here in the new West Bloomfield Middle School, and this auditoria. Absolutely incredible, and this first event I've been in, and it's obviously this is a school for the kids, but any municipal building such as this is also for the community as well. And this is going to be this room is really going to be a great asset for our community.
Yeah, great place for gathering, for events such as this, for celebrations, certainly within the school district and outside in the greater community as well. A great space, funded, of course, by the taxpayers, and a great place for learning also. If you've, I know you haven't been through much of the school, but just walking around the couple times that I've been here, and just seeing the vision of what the school district had for this facility for years to come and where our education system is going. And you're seeing that implemented and in action. Having a versatile room like this also creates the opportunity for many learning opportunities on top of course, shows here up on the stage in the auditoria, and, of course, your daily lunch periods here during the school year.
Well, it is. It's a great setup, great technology here, and a really well thought out room. This is where we are. You can see we're way up here in the in one of the wings, but they've got the center area, Tyler. Maybe I can scan this with the camera a little bit and open this up. They've got this center area right here, and it's multi-level, as you've been able to see. And then as we swing our camera here over to the stage, you can see what an incredible stage they have. But I really love the way this is set up. Very unusual that they would have the multi-layers like this, levels. And so it is a great setting for dining and for entertainment. It's really kind of the ultimate, I know it's not set up for this, but it's kind of the ultimate setup for almost like a dinner theater, or exactly what we did today, where you're having a program and also having an opportunity for people to witness it. And then these areas on the side, like that big area there, it's another nice seating area. But for a lot of events and a lot of activities that'll be certainly happening in here over the years, you could see that it really, those spaces there are really quite cool. So really nice design, great technology. We were able to broadcast effectively in here today, and we'll swing back over to our broadcast location. But I just wanted to show everybody the room here at the middle school. And as you said, Tyler, this is only just one small piece of the puzzle over here. And I do kind of have to admit, when I walked in here at first, I thought, wow, this is really cool. We got a nice little broadcast area set up right here. We got our own broadcast perch for anything that's going on. So I'm thrilled. I love this, and hopefully we'll be able to participate in a lot of community events in here that we can conveniently bring back to people on television and radio.
Yeah, it's a great place for these sorts of gatherings, and a great place for a learning environment 5 days a week for our kids all throughout the school year, from the late summer all through the early next spring and summer over after that. It's a great facility for learning, but also, as you said, it's a community asset as well, and certainly this is one of those highlights of that community asset that was funded by the taxpayers.
So we talked election. We certainly did this Veterans Day presentation. Anything else on our calendar, as long as we have the ear of the community right now?
Not off the top of my head. This is really, we're coming up to the end of the year. We got the
We are.
holidays, of course, coming up in a few weeks, and then we'll be going toward the end of the year and beginning the next one. The next one, I can really think that's the big one coming up, is in early January, United We Walk.
Sure.
And I don't have the exact location on that, perhaps maybe here or at the high school. We'll see exactly where that is in the coming days and in the coming weeks. But United We Walk, the next great celebration happening in early to mid-January, Dave.
And this is potentially a site, and we're already negotiating for our spring State of the Communities, which I think would work out extremely well right here. If we can find a date that we can get in here and not be in the way of the students and the learning. I mean, this is a place for learning and students, but this would also be a great place for our annual event where we bring our 4 communities together and get an update on what's been happening and what is to come. So always a great opportunity for us to just let the community know what their elected officials are working on, what things have been accomplished over the last year, and just some of the efforts that are going on. It's your typical, we've got the State of the Union. This is our state of the county, the state of the city. These are our state of the communities, and we bring Orchard Lake, Kego, Sylvan, and West Bloomfield all together. It's been tough during the COVID years.
Of course.
But
we've made it happen.
Yeah, but it'll be back this spring, and it's very likely we'll do it right here.
Yeah, that's a great location for it. It'll be in the central to certainly West Bloomfield, but not that far of a hike either from the Tri-Cities to come out here, and certainly, as we've learned today, a great space for events and community gatherings, certainly of which the State of the Communities is.
So, Tyler, unless you have anything else to add, just want to congratulate everybody who put this event on today. West Bloomfield Parks, the West Bloomfield Library. The thing that we should, again, make note of, and then if you show the audience, you can see out there, is that all the servers and all the work that goes into taking care of the veterans of this event had been done by various members of these organizations that are sponsors: the library, Parks and Rec, the schools, the school district, and our community. So great job by everybody here putting this event on. Congratulations to them, and thank you to our veterans. Most sincere thank you to our veterans, and we wish you the best of Veterans Day on Friday, and just know that our entire community is 110% behind you. Hey, we can let Chief Patton, you want to say hello real quick to our audience before we go home? Sure. Why don't we get a microphone on Chief Patton here, and then we're going to say so long. So there you go. You got the headset. So you could do a Laker football game with us now, Chief.
Sure, that's exactly what I should be doing.
Very good. Well, your thoughts on this Heroes Breakfast?
Look, it's really an honor to be here with our veterans that live in the West Bloomfield community, greater West Bloomfield community. And you think about the experiences that they've had in their life, the service that they provided to our nation, and we are forever grateful and respectful of everything that they've done for us, particularly those of us that served before. So thank you. And thank you to Parks and Rec. Thank you to Civic Center TV and Radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, and for just being here to promote this event and really pay a tribute to these some of our finest citizens.
Well, I think all citizens appreciate the veterans, but, there's got to be a real soft spot in the heart of all the first responders for the veterans as well. The challenges that you and your team go through, you got to have a deep appreciation for those that have served our country in the armed forces.
We do, because there isn't a service and a sacrifice, and particularly those that may have served abroad or during times of war or conflict. And they gave up a lot, not knowing what their futures were going to be. And that's not all that dissimilar for those in public safety, police and fire, that they understand, even though the risks are low, it's never zero, that they're risking their life and limb providing that service to the community. So we do have a full appreciation for what our veteran service members have done.
So I had to get here kind of early today, but on my way out here, I did drive by Shepherd King at Maple and Middle Belt, and there was a big group of voters out there. That was about 7 o'clock, right when the polls were opening. I don't know if you've had a time to be around the township or had reports from your officers, but indications are it's a very busy day at the polls. What have you heard?
It very will be. And look, we have a lot of police officers working today in case there are any issues or any concerns, but there won't be. But we're fully deployed if necessary. But look, I think it ties in real well to what we're doing here today, paying honor to our veterans here. If it wasn't for that service and sacrifice, would we be able to vote today?
No.
And I said, so that's a simple question. But so it's appreciated. So I think it reinforces the reason that we're here today is to recognize our service members. But I think election days, is really, it's an American experience, and regardless of what the outcomes are going to be in the election, it's important that members and citizens get out to vote. And I think I don't know if it'll be a record turnout today, but a very high turnout. Just talking to the clerk in preparation for today, there's already a large number of absentee voters. It's a good day to get out and vote. The weather's fine here in West Bloomfield, so if you haven't made a decision to get out and vote yet, still have opportunities. Polls are open until 8 o'clock.
And in the extremely unlikely event there is anyone that has any concern in the community about safety, as you mentioned, you are out there, your officers are fully deployed today just to make sure that everything goes as it should.
Right, exactly. So we're, no worries. Polls are safe. Get out and vote. Part of being the American experience. So thank you.
Chief Patton, thank you very, very much.
Good. Thank you both.
Tyler, what a perfect way to end the broadcast. Than with Chief Patton. Thank you very much for being with us. I really appreciate it. Always good to see you. So that's going to be it. The tables are clear. The music is still playing. Tyler, I don't know why these crazy things pop in my head. I see the tables clearing, and I hear the string music in the background, and I'm thinking about that moment from Titanic, where the ship is going down.
That's quite an ominous thing to be thinking about.
It's the end of the broadcast here. So
that wasn't a happy ending, by the way, if you remember correctly. Spoiler alert.
Well, it's just what has entered in my mind.
Okay.
Hey, I think we got it all covered today. Thank you very much. Great job, of course, and thank you very much to Calvin Brown doing a great job, and Jared Clark. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes, and they had to send me a couple of text messages now and then to tell me to hit this knob and hit that knob. But for the most part, great. Thank you to Mr. Verlew, too, for doing a great job. Right, John?
Yeah, John Verlew.
John Verlew from the West Bloomfield School District getting all the AV here. So nobody else we can thank. Any final words?
No, that about sums it up, Dave. A great event out here today, a great showing also by the community for this 5th annual Heroes Appreciation Breakfast, and of course looking forward to a wonderful Veterans Day on Friday this year, and another Heroes Appreciation Breakfast, the 6th annual next year.
All right, so thank you very much for tuning in. Have a terrific day. Enjoy the beautiful weather we have in West Bloomfield. Polls are open until 8 o'clock tonight. If you haven't voted, get out and vote and make it a great, safe, and happy election day here in West Bloomfield. On behalf of the whole crew, I'm Dave Scott saying thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you to all of our veterans for being here today at the Heroes Breakfast. Have a great day.